Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about season 2, episode 3 of Ted Lasso, entitled "Do the Right-est Thing." Pretty self-explanatory. I'm off to a bad start. Pretty self-explanatory title. There are a lot of characters who had to make some rough decisions this week. So you had Rebecca had to decide whether or not she's going to basically give the middle finger to their biggest sponsor, or support one of their best players who is taking a moral stance against something that is amoral. So, she had to decide whether she was going to do the rightest thing. And then, who else had to make it? Jamie had to decide what lengths he was willing to go to in order to mend the bridge between him and his teammates. He tried a few times, to kind of like ease his way in, but again, he could have gone back to his old Jamie ways and been like, fuck these guys, but he continued to push and continued to try to find a way to endear himself to his teammates, and it made for a pretty good ending. And then, of course, Sam had to make the decision between an ad campaign that was clearly very important to him and his own moral objections. So lots of characters had to make some decisions about doing the right thing or not. They all made, in my opinion, the right decisions. And I thought it was a really good episode. I thought it had a lot of funny moments. It had a lot of heartwarming moments. And before I get into specifics, I was thinking about this show after I watched it, because right now it's about 7 p.m. on Friday. Generally, I have the video up for anything that comes out on Friday pretty early in the day. And I watched this at probably like 9 in the morning or something. I had the opportunity to put a video up, but the day got away from me. But during the day, I spent some time reflecting on this show because, for instance, at the end of the episode, we see Sam put the duct tape over the Dubai Air logo on his jersey, and then we see the other Nigerian players do the same. As soon as that happened, I'm like, Jamie's going to volunteer to do it to get everyone else to do it. It was very predictable. And yet when it happened, it was still a really nice moment. They threw a little humor in there. He said something like, he did an incredible thing tonight. He overshadowed me, or he something like that. I think I wrote it down, actually. He stole my thunder. That's what Jamie said. But generally that kind of stuff where it's that predictable where we're going is a little off-putting to me. But there's something about this show, and I think it has to do with the time. And when I say the time, I mean like the state of affairs and events in this country. Like, everyone's pissed off, with the pandemic and being locked up and wearing masks, and you should do this, you should do that, you have to do this, you have to do that. People are at each other's throats, like, oh, you're an anti-vaccine person, and fuck you. You're a vaccine person, fuck you. Like, everyone's at each other's throats, and we're a very divided country right now. And I think that having a show like this, where you could see people who you like, who you enjoy watching and spending time with, being nice to one another, I feel like that's resonating with people more in 2021, and I'm not sure whether Ted Lasso was a 2019 or 2020 show, but same for season 1. Like, I feel like during this time, this show is resonating with people a little bit more than maybe it would have otherwise. Because there were moments where I was watching and I'm like, I feel like generally I would think that was pretty corny. But like, I don't know, it's just something that makes you smile watching these people, watching them be good to one another, watching them have a good time. And I think it's because we spend so much of our time outside of whatever it is that we used to get away. We spend so much of that time being angry or being frustrated or being at each other's throats. And I think this show is benefiting from that. And because it's such an enjoyable show to watch. Like, I could watch these characters for hours. Like, I wish we had like a 200 episode bank of Ted Lasso episodes where we could just you could turn it on for a night. And when I say for a night, I mean like from 7 p.m. until 3 a.m. or whatever when you decide to go to sleep, and just sit back and enjoy these characters, man, because they're so cool to be around and so fun to be around. And I kind of wanted to get that out of the way, and I think it was a nice segue into that, and I didn't want to miss it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I read an article not too long ago. Actually, no, it wasn't an article. It was a series of tweets from the actor who plays Coach Beard. And he said actually that season 1, they dropped the first 3 episodes at once, and then they released the others week to week. And there was a lot of pushback on the fact that they didn't do that this year. They put out, obviously week to week instead of putting out these first 3 all at once. And he said that they were made with the intention of all being put out at once, these first 3. So he basically was like, if you watch these first 3 and you binge the first 3, then you're watching it the way that they intended it to be viewed. So, and I can see that, and I can see that there could potentially be a time jump or a change in like the direction of the show a little bit, not a big one, but like I feel like we could see, like, I don't want to say a divide to make it like an issue, but a clear difference between the first 3 episodes and the remaining ones after this. I could see how that could happen. So just a little side note in case any of you guys are wondering about that. So couple of things that I liked about this episode. I think Roy is probably becoming my second favorite character. I don't think he'll ever pass Ted, and I know a lot of times when you have a show like this that has a very clear lead and a very dynamic and likable lead, sometimes people push back on that. Like, I'm not going to say that's my favorite character because that's what everyone's saying. But at the end of the day, if that character's the best character, it is what it is, right? So, and Ted is the best character. Ted is, you guys know. Like, you guys know. I don't need to sit here and tell you how great Ted Lasso is. You know. But Roy is probably my second favorite character, and which is interesting because Roy kind of irritated me at the start of season 1. But as he started to kind of come around, and he doesn't have to become a nice guy, but when he gives you like that little bit of niceness that's still masked in like a ton of profanity, that makes Ted more relatable. That makes Roy more relatable and likable. And I thought Roy had a great episode this week. I loved the scene with him and Rebecca walking down the street after, they run into each other at this doll shop, and he talks about how kids don't want to feel like they have to be entertained at all times. They just want to feel like they're a part of our lives. And he goes like, "Oi, you want to come to my podiatrist appointment?" She's like, "Oh, that'd be great." Like, she didn't just go, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, that sounds great." Who the fuck would want to go to somebody's podiatrist appointment? Like, nobody wants to do that. But, I thought that was a nice little moment. I thought it was a nice scene. Another scene of Roy just being, having some wisdom that's masked in his disgruntled, grumpy demeanor, which I personally, I'm the same way. So, like, no, I don't want to say I'm the same way, but I have a lot of traits that are similar to Roy, and I think that's probably why I like him so much. But and then I like I said, I think I said this in the last episode, that I would love for them to have a weekly segment where Roy, it could just be one scene where Roy is on that Soccer Saturday set or whatever as the pundit, and we got that again this week, and it was I don't know, it was a real short scene, but he said something like he hopes Jamie dies with the incurable condition of being a little bitch. I love that kind of stuff, like just giving Roy like these one-liners that he can just, nice vulgar kind of one-liners that he can throw at Jamie or throw at anyone else. Like he said that other guy was a shitty coach or something like that. I really think Roy is having a great season so far, because I feel like they found the perfect balance between him being an asshole and him actually being a good guy on the inside, being willing to show it, but still kind of like, it's almost like a good guy sandwich, how they, the compliment sandwich, how they say, like, you give a compliment, then you give your feedback / criticism, and then another compliment. So you wedge it in between the compliments. I feel like Roy is like a good guy sandwich, where it's like asshole bread, good guy in the middle with a little bit more asshole underneath. So I think they found a perfect balance with Roy, and I find him to be a very close second in my favorite characters. Sam had a great arc this week. I didn't understand why his dad was so hard on him, though. Like, if he knew, then you could call him a shill. But like, he's like, did you know that they are owned by this oil company? He's like, no, why? And then you then have to send him the link to the article about what the oil company did. Why did you follow up like, man, it kills me to see you as a corporate shill? Like, he didn't do it on purpose. He didn't fucking know. Like, why are you being so hard on him? But, Sam took that to heart. And then I thought he was done with just like, okay, I'm going to back out of this ad campaign. And then that put Rebecca in a position to have to deal with this this owner of this oil, the CEO of this oil company. But, I thought backing out of the campaign was going to be the end of it. But it makes sense, right? You're trying to work Jamie back into this. You need to give Jamie an opportunity to show that he's changed. but you can't make it easy because, I mean, we watched Jamie be a piece of shit all season 1, like all of it. So it would be unrealistic to expect the team to bring him back in knowing that, considering that all he's done in season 1. So, he needed that opportunity. So I think, putting the duct tape over the logo was the opportunity to give Jamie that chance to, as a writer of the show, to give the Jamie character a more viable option to like work his way back in. So, but I think Sam had a great arc. I like the fact that he's stepping up as the lead. He's the leader of this team at this point, even though he's not the captain. He's like the leader of the team. The friend's sister Nora. She loves Sam. Sam, made a great political statement. He stood for what he felt was right. He stood for his morals. He did what he thought was right. And we need that right now, right? Again, like what I'm saying, like we've been at each other's throats for the last year and a half, and it's good to see somebody say, this is the right thing to do, so I'm going to do it. So really good arc for Sam. And then, like I said, another thing I liked was Jamie's arc this episode as well. Jamie really trying to work his way back in. He tried to crack a joke at the beginning, and they looked at him like fuck you. And like, no. And then he had the moment where he gave a little speech, and everybody's like, yo, you did this to me, you did that to me, you did it. And but he keeps trying. And then, he got the opportunity with the duct tape. And, even though it was a very predictable move for considering everything that happened in the episode up to that point, knowing Jamie, I still was wondering, like, is he actually gonna do it, or is he gonna not do it? Because they kept showing him, and I thought, like, it would be interesting because they're foreshadowing it by constantly showing Jamie sitting there. They're foreshadowing that he's gonna do this. What if he didn't? Because like that would be really interesting, where you see him contemplating the opportunity to do the right thing. And up to that point in the episode, we've seen Sam do the right thing. We've seen Rebecca do the right thing. And now we are heavily foreshadowing Jamie doing the right thing, and then he chooses not to. I feel like that would be an interesting direction to take it. Also, I thought they did a really good job by downplaying, well, I don't want to say downplaying the game, but elevating the importance of what Sam did, because, from the team's perspective, they lost that game and they broke their tie streak or draw streak by losing that game. And they were happy, they were celebrating because of what Sam did. And, like that, what the loss don't mean shit. Like what you did was great. And the show itself also minimized the importance of losing that game by not even showing it. I thought that was a smart move, because when we came back from the cut from after them, taking off their warm-ups to show the jerseys with the duct tape on them, they cut straight to the post-game presser. And I thought, well, what happened in the game? Like, I thought we were going to, Jamie's back. Like, we're going to break the tie streak, or what's going to happen? Is it going to be another tie? Like, what the fuck? And then when they made it about Sam and had him come out there, and I think it was Trent who asked about losing the game, and he goes, I'm not even here to talk about that. He accused the Nigerian government of corruption. And at that moment, I was like, this was a smart move, because now the show is also saying the game doesn't matter. The human rights violations matter. And I thought that was a good move. So I almost chastised myself a little bit for going like, what are you doing? Why would you show the game? So really smart move on their part. I wonder, a few thoughts, because I don't have any cons for this episode. I doubt I'll ever have any cons for a Ted Lasso episode, honestly. But a couple thoughts. This banter app that Keely's really pushing, I wonder how this is going to play out throughout the season. Because I don't feel like this is just a fly, just like, hey, let's randomly insert this banter app storyline. I think this is going to be something that I'm guessing is ultimately going to put Ted and Rebecca together. I don't know if you guys feel like Ted and Rebecca are like the supposed to be that couple, but having an app where people are meant to bond without knowing who the other person is and not seeing it is kind of tailor-made to put two people together who probably wouldn't have gotten together otherwise if they knew who the person was. So Rebecca's on the app. I don't think Ted's on it yet, but I bet you Ted ends up on that app, and I bet you those two end up together, or at least end up fraternizing within the app and eventually finding out that they were talking to each other, and then we'll go from there. But lots of funny lines in this one. I really like how they opened with Ted with Rebecca asking, I forget her name because Ted's always calling her some other shit. But the friend or whatever asking her, or is that Rebecca's sister? I don't know. Asking her, like, does Ted always talk like that? Like, meaning, like, did he talk like that when they were in the bed? She's like, the whole time. He's so eager to please. It was amazing. And she spits out the biscuit. I thought that was a nice little touch. And then my favorite line of the episode when he said, "You guys probably don't have Chuck E. Cheese here. You have Chester Edgerton Cheesington the third or some shit. Chester Edgerton Cheeserton the third." I thought that was hilarious. So, yeah, really good episode. I like this direction. Again, I gave my thoughts on why I feel like this show is really resonating with fans right now. I really like everything they're doing with the character arc so far. I like what they're doing with Sam. I like what they're doing with Jamie. I like what they're doing with Roy, Ted, Rebecca. Like, I feel like everyone has a good direction. They didn't really touch too much on Nate being kind of an asshole those first 2 episodes. Nate gave Jamie a little shit, but it's like, okay, that's Jamie was pretty shitty to him, so that's understandable. Him shitting on his replacement, that's not cool, but I still think that's going somewhere as well. So it's kind of right now like what's going to happen with Keeley, and I think that app's going to have something to do with it. But Keeley doesn't really have much to do right now, but everyone else's arcs look pretty good. The show's real funny. The show's still heartwarming. The show's still really enjoyable to watch, and another great episode. So let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.